Velina mai kako. To help our community better acknowledge and appreciate Hawaiian geography, history, and the people and language of this ʻāina, we explore a few of the multi-layered genealogies of our campus. We want to thank Dr. Christina Higgins and Kapua o ke Ko'olaui Ka'ulupua Adams from the Multilingual Multicultural Initiative for beginning and leading this effort, Native Hawaiian Student Services for helping to lead the first tours in 2018 at the Piko'oko'o Conference, Julius Paulo of the UH Mānoa Planning Department for sharing his wealth of knowledge about mapping in our campus, Kiahialaka Iowane, a former graduate research assistant with the Native Hawaiian Place of Learning Advancement Office who supported this project, and also Avis Po'ai, a former faculty specialist with the office who led the creation of our story map. This work would not have been possible without their hours of work and thoughtful contributions. Throughout this tour, you will explore some of the ili ʻāina of our campus. We will also invite you to explore the languages heard and seen, and maybe not heard and seen, and take notice of the mea kanu or plants that are being cultivated. Fun fact, did you know that UH Mānoa is a campus arboretum? As you take notice of the many trees, we invite you to wonder about the ones you recognize and have seen elsewhere in Hawaii. Take notice of the ones you do not recognize, too, and wonder about their names and histories. You will also hear some of the mo'olelo of our campus. We invite you to notice what's coming up for you and in your body as you hear these stories. What might be helpful in naming, unpacking, and sharing these stories with others. As you tour our campus, you may hear some of the same questions asked. We believe that repetition is some of the best medicine for changing and expanding the way we view the world and embody truth, healing, and transformation as we live and breathe on our campus. Finally, we invite you to wonder about how we tell stories that create a more complete and complex narrative of who we are as a campus community. Now, take a deep breath in and out. Please walk safely, and we hope you enjoy exploring our campus.
Belina mai kako. Mahalo for joining us for this part of the tour, starting at Webster Hall and making our way down McCarthy Mall to Hamilton Library. While you are moving through this tour, we invite you to notice what you see. What languages do you notice? Perhaps what languages do you hear and not hear, now or when you have walked through this area before? What else do you wonder about in terms of what is present and not present, now and over time? Perhaps you might take in the plants. What plants do you notice and recognize here? Pause this recording until you get to the front of Webster Hall. Welcome to Webster Hall. Webster Hall is located in the ili ʻāina of Pili Pili. Pili Pili has many explanations in English. For example, as you learned earlier this week, pili means to be close. It also means to be sticky. And we know from Hawaiian language newspapers that the mud of this area is actually a clay-like mud that is fed by underground water sources and was eaten because of its sweet taste. It was a delicacy. So interesting, right? As you stand in front of Webster, take a moment to look at the circular seal embedded in the concrete. It features a torch in the middle with the word Mālama or enlightenment. What does Mālama mean for you? This Mānoa seal is adapted from the Territory of Hawaii seal. The motto reads, Ua mau ke eo ka ʻāina I ka pono, often translated as, the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness. These words were spoken by King Kamehameha III when Hawaii's sovereignty was restored after a brief takeover by the British in 1843, known as the Paulette Affair. This brief occupation began when Richard Charlton, the British consul to the Hawaiian Kingdom, complained that British interests were not being protected in the island when he tried to claim land for himself in Kaka'ako. Naval Captain Lord George Paulette then sailed to Hawaii in February, and when King Kamehameha III was unable to promptly meet with him, he declared himself in charge of the new government of Hawaii. Within 6 months, sovereignty was restored, and King Kamehameha III uttered these now famous words, echoed in the Mānoa and Territory of Hawaii seals. 50 years later, in 1893, Queen Liliuokalani was overthrown. Knowing this history, we cannot help but wonder if she believed sovereignty would soon be restored to Hawaii in a similar way. For on January 16, 1893, United States troops invaded the Hawaiian Kingdom without just cause, which led to a conditional surrender by the Hawaiian Kingdom's executive monarch, Her Majesty Queen Liliuokalani. Her conditional surrender from January 17, 1893 reads, I, Liliuokalani, by the grace of God and under the Constitution of the Hawaiian Kingdom, Queen, do hereby solemnly protest against any and all acts done against myself and the constitutional government of the Hawaiian Kingdom by certain persons claiming to have established a provisional government of and for this kingdom, that I yield to the superior force of the United States of America, whose Minister Plenipotentiary, His Excellency John L. Stevens, has caused United States troops to be landed at Honolulu, and declared that he would support the said provisional government. Now, to avoid any collision of armed forces and perhaps the loss of life, I do, under this protest and impelled by said force, yield my authority until such time as the government of the United States shall, upon the facts being presented to it, undo the action of its representatives and reinstate me in the authority which I claim as the constitutional sovereign of the Hawaiian Islands. As you hear these stories, what do you notice coming up for you? What might be helpful in naming, unpacking, and sharing these stories with others? We invite you to take a deep breath in and out and make your way down towards the art building. As you approach this building, you should see ahead of you the art building's large angular art piece, the fourth sign. This artwork was created by artist Tony Smith in 1977 after he was invited to teach a sculpture course at the university. The piece is made of steel, painted black, and signifies the fourth zodiac sign Cancer, a crab. Do you have anyone in your life who has the Cancer zodiac sign? The sculpture was made to define its own interior and exterior, and its open structure intends to offer a sense of safe haven and enclosure. What is coming up for you as you take in this piece of art? As you reflect, do you also happen to notice a pink, flowering tree nearby? This pink trumpet tree was planted in 1994 in memoriam of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Every year we offer ho'okupu at this plaque for the National Day of Racial Healing on January 17th. As you might remember from the story you just heard, this day coincides with our Queen's surrender. We intentionally pause to offer ho'okupu at Keahu o Kamaka'eha at the Queen Liliuokalani Center for Student Services before coming here to do the same for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now carefully make your way towards Hamilton Library, down what is known as McCarthy Mall, through the malu of the trees. Notice the art and the building names that are present. How are their stories represented? Imagine any other art pieces or signage that might belong along this walkway. What stories might they tell to create a more complete and complex narrative of who we are as a campus community? You can pause this recording until you arrive at the end of McCarthy Mall and are standing at the bottom of the steps facing Hamilton Library. Here, near the large monkey paw tree, is actually at the intersection of 4 ili ʻāina. You have just walked across Pili Pili. Looking towards Kennedy Theater is Puahia, and as you look up towards Hamilton Library is Wailele on your left, and towards Moore Hall is Kauala'a on your right. Let's practice saying these 4 ili names out loud and after me. Ready? Pili Pili, Puahia, Wailele, Kauala'a. Great job. Are these ili easy to find? What kind of signage would you like to see here and think would be appropriate to mark this intersection? What do you wonder about in terms of the stories and mo'oku auhau of these ili ʻāina? As you look at Hamilton Library in front of you, Inside is a space dedicated to William Kwai Fong Yap, which pays tribute to a man who has been named the father of the University of Hawai at Mānoa. William Kwai Fong Yap was born in Honolulu and attended the Fort Street Mission School, which eventually developed into McKinley High School. His parents were from China, and he was second generation to the Kingdom of Hawaii. He went to work at age 13 as an apprentice in a tailor shop, and then served as a clerk in the Postal Service of the Republic of Hawaii. He joined the Bank of Hawaii in 1899, eventually becoming assistant cashier in 1923. He had 11 children and wanted a better future for them than a career in agriculture. In 1918, he took it upon himself and petitioned the legislature to expand the College of Hawaii to a university that would offer more professional career paths. He gathered 438 signatures to support the idea of a full university in Hawaii, and it took him an entire year to accomplish this great feat. One of his daughters, Ruth L.T. Yap, became an instructor of mathematics at the university. Yap's contribution to UH Mānoa is rarely discussed, and considering these accomplishments, we wonder why Yap's name was never considered for a university building. In 1982, a room in the Hamilton Library entry lobby was reportedly named the William Kwai Fong Yap Memorial Room, and more recently, his son, Eugene Tsun Choi Yap, has a conference room dedicated to him on the first floor of Hamilton Library that honors their family's legacy. Again, as you hear these stories, what do you notice coming up for you? What might be helpful in naming, unpacking, and sharing these stories with others? Now we invite you to take a deep breath in and out. This is the end of this tour. If you feel called to do so, we invite you to walk into the Hamilton Library, take a look at the plaque dedicated to Yap in the entryway, and look for the memorial room now dedicated to his son Eugene. If you explore the library, we invite you to reflect on and wonder about his legacy on our campus. And afterwards, if you'd like to go on another tour, go for it. Mahalo for joining us.